Yo guys, the MacBook Neo is probably the best thing that ever happened to users wanting to get their feet wet into the Apple ecosystem, or perhaps to an iPhone user that still uses a Windows laptop, since MacBooks are quite expensive until now. I mean, a brand new MacBook for only 39,990 Philippine pesos that can still do pretty much anything other than doing things all at once. With this, you get to experience everything macOS has to offer while keeping some change to buy some accessories, like a USB hub or external storage for example, because you're definitely gonna need it. Here, let me share with you all my thoughts. Let's get into it. As always, honest disclaimer, this video is not sponsored or paid. In fact, I just borrowed this from Beyond the Box Philippines for a few days, just to get a glimpse of whether I should get one for my wife, since her Jurassic laptop is painfully old now. But yeah, they will not see this video or even my script prior to release. Now, why would anyone consider a laptop with a smartphone chip? Well, for starters, the A18 Pro chip is not a slouch at all, able to crunch numbers that are substantial enough for day-to-day tasks and more. I was honestly surprised at how fluid it feels when I'm casually browsing while streaming music in the background. It's the kind of machine that fits perfectly for students, hobbyists, budding creators, or even professionals who need something portable without the anxiety of lugging around a wallet-draining MacBook Pro. Let's face it, we live in a world where practicality matters just as much as performance. And hey, you still get the shiny Apple logo on the lid at a fraction of the price. If that's your thing, then yes, you can flex it guilt-free. Now, I went in thinking multitasking would be a nightmare on this laptop's modest 8GB of memory. But turns out, I was wrong. I was able to open CapCut and scrub through the timeline of 4K clips from my iPhone without any hiccups, while having a bunch of applications running in the background, including a memory-intensive Lightroom Classic, which was still pretty smooth even in develop mode. I also have the Bamboo Lab Studio slicer for my 3D printing projects, and as you can tell, it's also fairly smooth and responsive. Of course, I gotta check my newsfeed and social media notifications and listen to some relaxing jazz music in the background, all of which were perfectly smooth. Of course, over time, it's going to feel that 8GB of memory and start using swap, but that doesn't seem to affect performance quite drastically. If anything, a few quick stutters from time to time, but still perfectly usable for multitasking. It's not pretending to be a powerhouse, but it's holding its own surprisingly well. And if you use it conservatively, you'll have a better overall experience. And yes, you can totally kick back with casual Apple Arcade titles on this laptop, whether it's NBA 2K26, Power Wash Simulator, or whatever else you fancy. And I'm actually starting to enjoy the idea that gaming on a MacBook isn't just a novelty anymore, and the MacBook Neo makes that more accessible than ever. It even got me thinking, maybe I should spend more time gaming on my MacBook Pro instead of treating it like a strictly work-only machine. Because imagine this, the thought of polishing off an article or a video and then dunking on someone in NBA 2K right after, that's the kind of balance I can get behind. Now, you can even hook this up to an external monitor, supporting up to 4K at 60fps. And in my case, I went with 1440p at 120fps. And I must say, the performance feels just as smooth. Now, design-wise, it's classic MacBook through and through. Polished finish, curved corners, and the sleek, thin profile. Thanks to the aluminum build, it's just got the right amount of heft, solid enough to feel premium, but still light enough to carry around without any fuss. Now for I/O, the setup is pretty bare bones. You're looking at just a couple of USB-C ports, one USB 3.0 that thankfully supports DisplayPort, and a slower USB 2.0 port. I wish both were USB 3.0 for consistency, but hey, that's the compromise we've got to live with this price tag. We also have stereo speakers and a headphone jack. It's enough to get by if you're running light, but if you're planning to plug in multiple peripherals, you'll definitely want to budget for a hub or a dock. Think of it as Apple nudging you towards the minimalist lifestyle, whether you like it or not. Now, opening it using one hand is possible, and as you can tell, it's quite familiar. We've got a properly built keyboard without any flex and some satisfying chiclet keys. It doesn't have any illumination though, except for the caps lock indicator. But the most annoying thing for me is the lack of Touch ID. At first, I was like, yeah, I can get used to this. But no, after a while, it starts to get annoying entering your password every single time. You'll have to bump your variant to 512GB to get Touch ID, which also bumps the price substantially. So yeah, that's definitely a trade-off you'll want to think about. Now, the touchpad is pretty solid, though I immediately noticed that it feels a little different. Instead of Apple's usual haptic feedback trickery, this one actually uses a mechanical mechanism. And I must say, I kinda like it. It feels more natural, almost like a proper click, while still supporting full multi-touch gestures. That said, I do miss the subtle tap-to-click feature. It's a small thing, but once you're used to it like me on my MacBook Pro, you'll definitely notice it when it's gone. The bezels are definitely on the thicker side compared to Apple's higher-end models, but it doesn't take away from the experience as long as the panel itself delivers, and thankfully, it does. You're looking at a 13-inch liquid retina display with full color coverage across different color spaces, so everything from photos, videos, icons, and text looks crispy and vibrant. Brightness is solid as well, up to 288 nits on battery and around 392 nits when plugged in. Apple rates it at 500 nits, which might be achievable outdoors under certain conditions, but even at the lower figures, it's more than enough for everyday use, especially indoors. Now, the stereo speakers are another pleasant surprise. They've got more punch that you'd expect from a laptop in this price range, delivering clear mids and highs with enough body in the sound to make music or movies enjoyable without immediately reaching for the headphones. The latest flagship Air series low-profile keyboards from Nufi are finally here, with the launch of the Air 65 and Air 100 V3, completing the Air series V3 trifecta. Now, in terms of the webcam quality, it's really hard to tell where the camera is exactly on the bezel, but the quality seems to be perfectly fine. I mean, it's not studio quality, but it's decent enough for casual social media communication and, of course, FaceTime. My air purifier is running, my aquarium pump is running, my 3D printer is running, so this is the quality of the microphone for the MacBook Neo. Now, battery life is one area that I didn't get to fully test given the limited time I had with the Neo, but on paper, it's rated for up to 16 hours, which is modest yet respectable for a machine in this price bracket. The true win here though isn't just the endurance, it's the fact that you're getting the full macOS experience. That means all the bells and whistles, Apple Intelligence, seamless integration with your iPhone, and the trademark smooth, reliable workflow Apple is known for. In short, you're not just buying hardware, you're buying into the ecosystem. And this little laptop makes that entry point far more accessible. One thing to keep in mind though is the relatively small 256GB of internal storage, but a fast, compact external drive can easily cover that gap without forcing you to upgrade to the 512GB model, which, as I mentioned earlier, bumps the price up quite a bit. Unless Touch ID is a must-have for you, sticking with the base storage and adding external support is the smarter play. Of course, you have to set your expectations straight. Don't go thinking you'll be editing 4K videos with heavy effects and color grading while juggling a dozen apps, or running AAA titles at 60 FPS like it's a gaming laptop. At the end of the day, this is still an iPhone chip for crying out loud. But here's the thing, at this price point, it's punching way above its weight. It's bound to steal a slice of that Windows laptop market share, and it's got clear advantages where it counts. OS and ecosystem fluidity, power management, efficiency, and yes, battery life. Not to mention the bragging rights of owning a Mac, whether you admit it or not, it's part of the package. Now, I must admit I enjoyed using the Neo with my current 3D printing and RC crawler projects as I was able to move around the studio, tinkering with stuff, writing, browsing through social media, video editing, listening to music, and casual gaming on the side. I haven't had this freedom in a while, especially since my MacBook Pro has basically become a permanent desk ornament thanks to its size and weight, unlike the Neo, which is more compact and lightweight. Now, while this Neo won't completely replace my MacBook Pro, it's definitely something I'd consider as a solid replacement for my wife's old Windows laptop. How about you? What do you think about the MacBook Neo? Let me know in the comments below. And there you have it guys. Thank you for watching. Huge thanks to Beyond the Box for letting me experience the MacBook Neo. I'll put some relevant links below if you're interested. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you appreciate this video, and see you next time. Have a great day guys. You're awesome.